Hey guys, this is RelaxingMr. C here, bringing you another discussion video this week about is reimagining a series the only way to keep it relevant and playable? As I've grown up over the years, I've watched a lot of my favorite video game series die off and never see the light of day. And with other franchises, I see them take 360-degree turns in style, and I kind of wonder if it's the best for them or should they have kept the same. Just to clarify, I consider a reimagination to be drastically different from the original style, but not so much that it becomes a spin-off. And like example of that would be Halo Wars or Pokemon Tarazi would be spin-offs. And I'll save that for a separate video entirely. Having all that said, let's jump right in, talk about a series that has managed to stay relevant without changing its gameplay too much. And that first series is Call of Duty. Call of Duty started off only on the PC in 2003 with a very fast and simple run and gun gameplay which hooked gamers in immediately, and over the years has kept that unique style. Now that it's 2019, we have Call of Duty Black Ops 4. Which does that sound kind of disgusting, but it's the 18th main entry Call of Duty game since its inception, and when we compare Black Ops 4 from the first Call of Duty, they look practically the same. Of course, we do have new additions in the game like customizable loadouts, perks, different classes, no campaign, but overall, the same game. Why is it that this game hasn't reimagined its style through the years like the few games I'll talk about after this? To put it simply, I think it's because the gameplay is so satisfying that it never gets repetitive or boring. No matter what age group you are, it's easy to pick up and play, and you automatically know what to do. And that's kill the bad guys. But I think the biggest reason is that they add new game modes and keep up with the trends to keep gamers engaged and coming back. For example, we have Nazi Zombies, which when introduced into the series, we find out it was an instant hit and has been in every Call of Duty from then on. Then with this most recent entry, we have Blackout mode, which is the Battle Royale style mode that will probably stick around until this latest fad dies out. This is the only reason why Call of Duty hasn't found the need to change compared to most video game series. Now the biggest reason you find video game series reimagining their gameplay is because the controls don't hold up or the feel of the game becomes too archaic in nature. So they have to change how the game plays. The series that comes to mind that has probably changed the most throughout the years has to be the Resident Evil series. Or if you're in Japan, the Biohazard series, which is a way cooler name than what we got. When the game first came out, it was terrifying to play, but not for reasons you would think. The game is all about survival, but most of the time when you're playing it, the only thing you're trying to survive is the damn tank controls. Back in the day, this was okay, because we didn't know any better. But now, it's unacceptable. Which is why we found that Resident Evil 4 was redesigned into a third-person survival horror with faster-paced combat, better controls, and more atmospheric environments. Then fast forward to today when we have Resident Evil 7, which was completely changed to be more of a psychological horror game in the first-person view. Was this necessary to keep the game alive? If we look at the sales of the games, we can see a steady decline of sales after Resident Evil 3, up until they revamped the style of the gameplay in Resident Evil 4. You can also look at reviews of the game and see how the games did throughout the years and how they fluctuated with each entry. Now, I think Resident Evil 4 is the most ported game of all time, with it being on 12 different platforms. That game ended up a masterpiece in gaming, and if Capcom didn't decide to reimagine how the Resident Evil games played, it probably would have died off right after that. This next series is an example of how reimagining a series could potentially have some backlash. The series I'm talking about is the Doom series, when they made Doom 3 back in 2004. This game was a huge departure from the original because it was the first Doom game on modern consoles, and it had quite a bit of processing power to work with this time around. What it resulted with is that instead of Doom 3 being like the previous game, where it's a very fast arcadey shooter with a bunch of secret areas, we found an atmospheric survival horror shooter that focused more on jump scares rather than fast gameplay. Which, in my personal opinion, I loved every second of Doom 3. And it's my favorite Doom game, but if we're talking about the core fan base of gamers, a lot of fans were very disappointed because it wasn't the same gameplay compared to Doom 1 and 2. Which, luckily, id Software deeply cares about their fans, and they took the series back to its root with the most recent Doom entry. They had to reimagine the series again to get it right, but it was worth it, and what we got was the most adrenaline-filled, testosterone-pumped, heavy metal game to get addicted to, and I can't wait for Doom Eternal! Coming off of that, other game series that are worth noting is the Fallout series, shifting from a click-based adventure game to a massive sprawling open-world game that really brought life back into that franchise. And then you have Prey as well. That went from a typical run and gun shooter with a unique gravity system to more of a System Shock-esque game that focused solely on playing your own way, and it's a lot more open with the choices you make and how the story will end up. Do I think reimagining games is necessary to survive in today's market? Absolutely. The moment Call of Duty stops being fun, they will end up changing that game entirely, and I think the main reason why developers do this is to keep up with the times in the current market. Resident Evil 1 wouldn't do very well in today's day and age, and it was necessary that they change the controls and style of the game to keep players coming back to keep making hit games. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a comment, like the video, or subscribe to the channel if you want more videos like this every Thursday. Having that said, have a great day, have a nice night, and I'll see you next week.